What if the struggles you're facing aren't setbacks, but stepping stones to a divine breakthrough? Could the silence in your life be God's strategy to shape you, not to shame you? Is it possible that every delay, every trial, and every tear is preparing you for something greater than you imagined? Sometimes in life, we all go through periods when we feel as though we're standing at the edge of something great, something that could change our lives forever, and in those moments we may be asking ourselves, why is this so hard? Why is everything falling apart? Right. Before I feel something big is about to happen, perhaps you've prayed for a breakthrough, for that one change that will lift you out of the struggles you've been facing. Yet the more you pray, the more it seems as though life is getting harder. You may wonder if God hears you, if He sees you, if He's even listening. My dear friends, it's in these very moments that God is preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. He may be testing you, shaping you and molding you into the person who can handle the breakthrough you've been praying for. Let me tell you something. God never tests us because He doubts us. No. He knows exactly what we are capable of, but often we don't know what we're capable of in His mercy. He allows trials to refine us, to stretch our faith, and to bring out the best in us. He allows us to go through these tests because He has an important purpose for our lives, and to fulfill that purpose we must first be made ready, and it's in the heat of the trial that we start to see the signs that God is at work preparing us for the breakthrough we have been longing for. Now, you may be asking, what signs should I look for? How do I know when God is testing me? Well, there are several ways you can discern that the challenges you are facing might be part of a divine preparation. It's important to understand that these signs are not just random occurrences, they are part of God's plan, part of His shaping process first. One of the most common signs that God is testing you is that you experience resistance. If you've ever felt like you're pushing a boulder uphill only to find it rolling back on you, you might be in a season of testing. Every door you try to open seems to be locked and the path forward appears blocked. Yet it's in these moments when resistance builds character. When life doesn't go as planned, when obstacles arise, you can either give up or lean deeper into your faith. God is teaching you perseverance, teaching you to press on even when it's hard, because He knows that in due time, He will bring you through this resistance and into a place of victory. Another sign that God is testing you is when you begin to feel disconnected from the things that once brought you joy or comfort. Sometimes before God leads us into new seasons of growth, He removes the things that have been holding us back. You might find that relationships that once felt fulfilling are now strained, or the things that once brought you happiness are no longer satisfying. This disconnection is not a punishment. It's God's way of preparing you for something new. He's clearing the path, removing distractions, and making space in your heart for something greater. The truth is, God often has to take us out of our comfort zones before He can bring us into the blessings that He's already prepared for us. Another sign that God is testing you is when your faith feels weak and doubt creeps in. You may find yourself asking questions like, why is this happening to me? Or is God really with me? But let me remind you that even when doubt arises, God is still at work. He's not afraid of your doubts, in fact. He can use them to strengthen your faith. This is the moment when you must choose to trust Him. Even when you don't understand, you see, it's easy to trust God when everything is going well, when life is comfortable and predictable. But it's in the moments of doubt, when everything feels uncertain, that God is testing the depth of your faith. Will you trust Him? Even when you can't see the end of the road, will you lean on Him when all seems lost? Another sign of divine testing is when you feel isolated, as though you're walking alone in these moments. It may seem as though God has removed all human support. Friends and family may not be there when you need them most, and you may feel as though you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. This is a time when God is teaching you to rely on Him and Him alone in these moments of isolation. God draws near to you, teaching you that He is all you truly need. It's in the silence of solitude that you often hear God's voice. Most clearly, God is preparing you to stand firm, to rely on His strength, and to trust that even when others are not there, He is. His love is never far, and He is closer than you think. Sometimes the test comes in the form of a delay. You've prayed. You've worked hard and you've done everything you know to do, but nothing seems to be happening. The breakthrough you've been waiting for seems to be just out of reach. The delay can be frustrating, but remember, God's timing is always perfect. What may feel like a delay is often God's way of working behind the scenes, setting things up in ways you cannot see. He is positioning people, circumstances, and opportunities in your favor. So don't lose heart. Trust in His timing. Know that while you wait, God is at work, and when the time is right, your breakthrough will come. Another sign that God is testing you is when you feel a burden to be a blessing to others even in the midst of your own struggles. It's easy to get consumed by our own pain, to focus only on what we don't have, what we're waiting for, or what we've lost. But God sometimes tests us by asking us to serve others even when we ourselves are in need. Maybe you're feeling depleted, tired, and worn out, but then you have an opportunity to bless someone else, to show kindness, to give what little you have. This is not a test of your resources, it's a test of your heart. Will you still show compassion, even when you feel empty? God is teaching you generosity in these moments, reminding you that it's not about what you have, but what you give from the heart through these acts of service. God will multiply what you have, and you'll find that you are blessed in ways you never expected. Lastly, sometimes God tests us before our breakthrough by asking us to take a step of faith into the unknown. He asks us to trust Him, even when we don't know where the road will lead. You may feel God prompting you to take a leap of faith, to make a decision to go in a direction you never anticipated. This can be scary, even terrifying. But let me tell you, it is in these moments of obedience that the breakthroughs happen. When you step out in faith, when you do what God is asking you to do, even when it doesn't make sense, you are positioning yourself for the very breakthrough you've been praying for. Faith is not knowing how things will turn out. It's trusting that God will lead you every step of the way. In all of these signs, there is one common thread: testing produces growth. It's not about what you're going through, but what you're becoming through it. God is shaping you, refining you, and preparing you to step into the purpose He has for your life. The testing is not the end. It's simply a means to an end. And the end, my friends, is a life of victory, a life of purpose, a life that will bring glory to God. So if you're in the middle of a test right now, take heart. Know that God is with you, that He is using this season to prepare you for something greater. Keep trusting, keep praying, and keep moving forward. Your breakthrough is on the way, and it will be more than worth the journey. Keep your eyes fixed on the hope that lies ahead. For God is faithful, and He will never leave you nor forsake you. Sometimes the trials we face may feel like they will never end, and the obstacles in our way seem insurmountable in those moments. It's important to hold on to the truth that God is with us, even when it feels like we're walking through the darkest valleys. Our understanding of God's presence is often clouded by our circumstances. But if we could see the bigger picture, we would realize that He's been walking beside us all along, guiding us toward our breakthrough even when we don't recognize it. His plans are far greater than ours, and sometimes we have to be tested in ways that stretch us beyond what we can comprehend in order to prepare us for the life He has in store for us. You see, there is a deeper truth behind every struggle, every test, and every trial. God's tests are not about punishment or judgment. They are about transformation. The difficulties we face are opportunities for us to become more like Christ, to become the people we were always meant to be. But for this transformation to take place, we must be willing to trust in God's process. We must be willing to surrender our understanding, our plans, and our timelines, and accept that His ways are higher than our ways. There's a refining that takes place in the fire of trials, and though the heat is intense, the end result is worth the process. One of the most difficult tests we face is when we are asked to endure hardship without understanding why it's happening. Perhaps you found yourself in a season where everything seems to be going wrong and you can't make sense of it. Maybe you've been praying for a breakthrough, for change, and yet it feels like you're stuck in the same place. It's easy to get discouraged, to wonder if God has forgotten you, or if He even cares about your struggles. But let me remind you that God is never distant. He's always working behind the scenes, orchestrating things for your good, even when you can't see it. It is in these moments of uncertainty that God is testing your trust. He's asking you to trust Him. Even when you don't have the answers, He's teaching you that His ways are far beyond your understanding. And He's inviting you to walk by faith, not by sight. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about trusting that He knows what's best for you as you endure these tests. Your faith will grow stronger, your trust in Him will deepen, and you'll come to realize that God is never late. He is always right on time. Another way God tests us is by allowing us to experience pain and loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one, the loss of a dream, or the loss of something dear to hearts. These moments of grief can feel overwhelming. In these times, we may question God's goodness and wonder why He allows such party. But even in the midst of loss, God is present. He grieves with us. He understands our pain, and He promises to be near to the brokenhearted. The pain may not make sense, but the promise is clear. He will never leave us, and He will bring beauty from ashes. God allows us to walk through the valleys of pain because He is refining our hearts through suffering. We become more compassionate, more understanding of others' pain, and more reliant on His strength. We learn to lean on Him in ways that we never would have without the struggle. Our dependence on Him deepens, and we begin to experience the comfort that only He can provide. It's through these trials that we learn the depth of His love for us, a love that will never fail and never leave us. Even in our darkest moment, the testing of our character is another way God prepares us for our breakthrough. We may face situations that challenge our integrity, our patience, and our willingness to love others unconditionally. It's easy to love when people treat us well, when everything is going smoothly. But the true test of our character comes when we're wronged, when we're hurt, or when we're misunderstood. It's in these moments that God is asking us to respond with grace, to extend forgiveness, and to choose love over resentment. These tests are opportunities for us to reflect Christ's character in a broken world, in the moments when we feel tempted to give in to anger, bitterness, or unforgiveness. God is teaching us to rise above our natural reactions and to choose the path of righteousness. It's through these tests that we learn to love our enemies, to pray for those who hurt us, and to extend the same grace that God has extended to us. And as we pass these tests, we become more like Christ, more equipped to handle the blessing that He has in store for us. Our character is refined, and we are made ready for the responsibility that comes with the breakthrough we've been waiting for. In addition to these internal tests, there are also external challenges that God allows to test our faith. These challenges may come in the form of difficult relationships, financial struggles, or health issues. These external tests are not random, they are allowed by God for a purpose. There are opportunities for us to demonstrate our faith, to rely on Him for provision, and to trust that He is in control even when things seem out of our hand. These challenges push us to the limits of our strength, but they also provide opportunities for God to show up in powerful ways when we don't know how we'll make it through. God steps in and provides exactly what we need, Whether it's physical strength, emotional support, or the external tests are a reminder that we are not in control. They force us to confront our weaknesses and limitations, but they also reveal the power of God at work in our lives when we reach the end of ourselves and realize that we can't do it alone. That's when God steps in with His strength. He is faithful to provide for His children, and He will never leave us in the midst of our struggles. It's in the midst of these tests that we learn to depend fully on Him, knowing that without Him, we can do nothing, but with Him, all things are possible. It's important to remember that God's tests are not meant to break us. They are meant to build us up, to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for the greater purpose He has for our lives. It may not always feel like it in the moment, but every test, every trial, and every struggle has a purpose. God does not waste our pain. He uses it for our good and His glory. The process of testing is not easy, but it is necessary for the growth that lies ahead. As we go through these tests, we can find comfort in knowing that God is with us every step of the way. He is our refuge and our strength and ever-present help in times of trouble when the tests seem too hard to bear. We can cry out to Him for help, and He will answer. He promises to be faithful to carry us through and to give us the strength we need to endure. His grace is sufficient for us, and His power is made perfect in our weakness. In the moments when we feel like we're at the end of our rope, we can be confident that God is holding us, lifting us up and carrying us through to the other side. The trials we face are not the end of the story. They are part of the journey, part of the process that leads us to the breakthrough we've been praying for. God is preparing us for something greater. And though we may not see it now, the breakthrough is on the horizon. We may not understand why we're going through these tests, but we can trust that God is working everything together for our good. He is faithful, and He will bring us through as we continue to trust Him, to hold fast to our faith, and to rely on His strength. We will see His promises come to fruition. Our breakthrough will come, and it will be far greater than we ever imagined. So when you find yourself in the midst of a test, remember that God is with you. He is not distant, and He is not unaware of your struggles. He is using this time to prepare you for something greater. Keep your eyes on Him. Keep trusting, and keep moving forward. Your breakthrough is coming, and when it does, you will be stronger, more faithful, and more ready than ever to embrace the purpose He has for your life. Keep pressing on, for God is faithful, and He will see you through to the other side in times of hardship and struggle. We often find ourselves questioning the reasons behind the trials we face. Why does life seem so difficult at this moment? Why does it feel like we're being tested in ways that seem unbearable? These questions can leave us feeling weary, overwhelmed, and disheartened, especially when we don't understand what God is doing or why He is allowing us to walk through certain challenges. However, we must remember that God's testing is never in vain, though we may not always grasp His reasons. In the moment, we can trust that He is leading us towards something far greater than we could ever imagine. Each trial we encounter is a divine opportunity for growth, a chance for God to shape us into the individuals He has called us to be. Just as gold must be refined by fire to remove its impurities, we too must undergo a refining process to become the people God has destined us to be. The struggles we face are not meant to defeat us, but to strengthen us. They're part of God's sovereign plan to mold our character, build our faith, and prepare us for the blessings and breakthroughs He has waiting for us. As we walk through these tests, we must remember that God is always present, even when it feels like we're walking alone. His promises to us are sure, and He will never leave us, nor forsake us when we feel overwhelmed by the weight of the world, when we're exhausted from carrying burdens too heavy to bear. It is in these moments that we must lean on Him. He is our refuge, our rock, and our stronghold in the midst of the storm. He offers us peace that surpasses all understanding. He gives us the strength to endure, the courage to press on, and the hope to continue moving forward. God does not test us to watch us struggle or suffer. Rather, He uses these tests to refine us, to bring out the best in us. When life is easy, when everything is going according to plan, it's easy to trust in ourselves and our own abilities. But when we're faced with trials, we're reminded that we cannot do this on our own. We need God's strength, His wisdom, and His guidance. It is through these tests that we learn to rely on Him fully, to surrender our own understanding, and to trust that He knows what is best for us in the face of testing. We often find ourselves at a crossroads. We can choose to trust God, to continue walking by faith even when we don't understand what is happening, or we can choose to turn away, to grow discouraged, and to give up. The temptation to give up is real, especially when the road ahead seems long and uncertain. But in these moments, we must hold fast to our faith, knowing that God's plan for us is far greater than any obstacle we may face. He will bring us through the trials stronger and more equipped to fulfill His purpose for our lives. The process of testing is not an easy one. It's painful, uncomfortable, and at times overwhelming. But it is through these difficulties that we are transformed, just as a caterpillar must go through the struggle of emerging. From its cocoon before it can become a butterfly, we too must go through the struggle of trials before we can experience the fullness of God's plans for us. The testing may feel unbearable at times, but we must trust that it is all part of the process. Every trial, every challenge is shaping us into the person God has called us to be. One of the most difficult aspects of God's testing is the sense of uncertainty that often accompanies it. When we don't know what the future holds, when we can't see the end of the road, it's easy to become anxious and fearful. But God calls us to walk by faith, not by sight. Even when the path ahead is unclear, we can trust that God is leading us step by step. He has a plan for our lives, and He is working all things together for our good. We don't have to have all the answers right now. We simply need to trust Him and keep moving forward. Sometimes tests us by placing us in situations that seem impossible. We may face challenges that seem beyond our ability to handle, and we may feel like giving up. But it is in these moments that we discover just how much strength we have in God. When we reach the end, when we are weak, He is strong, and it is in our moments of weakness that His glory shines the brightest. As we go through the testing, we may find that it stretches us in ways we never imagined. We may discover new depths of resilience, courage, and faith that we didn't know we had. The trials we face reveal what is inside of us, our character, our beliefs, our values. They show us what we're truly made of, and they provide opportunities for us to grow and mature. The process of testing is refining us, making us more like Christ, and preparing us for the purpose He has for our life through it all. God is teaching us to trust Him with everything. He is teaching us to trust Him with our fears, our uncertainties, and our pain. He is teaching us to surrender our plans and our desires and to submit to His will. When we do this, when we surrender to His process, we open the door for Him to work in our lives in powerful ways. The breakthrough we've been waiting for may not come immediately, but if we remain faithful, if we continue to trust Him through the trials, we will see the fruit of our labor in due time. God's tests are not designed to break us. They are designed to build us up. They are designed to prepare us for the breakthrough that is just around the corner. But the breakthrough is not just about the blessings we will receive. It is about becoming the person God wants us to be. It is about stepping into the fullness of His purpose for our lives. The breakthrough is not just the end result. It is the journey, the transformation and the growth that happens along the way. When we look back on the tests we faced, we will see that they were not wasted. Every hardship, every challenge, every difficulty was part of God's plan to bring us closer to Him and to prepare us for the life He has called us to live. The breakthrough will be a testament to God's faithfulness and His ability to bring us through even the most difficult seasons. But it is in the process of testing that we grow, that we are transformed, and that we become the people God intended for us to be. The tests we face may be hard, But they are not without purpose. They are part of God's divine plan to shape us, to strengthen us, and to prepare us for the future He has in store. As we walk through these tests, we must remember that God is with us every step of the way. He will never leave us, and He will never forsake us. His love for us is unwavering, and His faithfulness endures forever. We may not understand why we are being tested, but we can trust that God is good, that His plans are perfect, and that He will bring us through. In the end, the testing will give way to the breakthrough. The struggles we face will give way to the triumphs. The trials will give way to the victories, and through it all, we will have grown stronger. Deeper and more faithful, God is faithful to complete the work He has begun in us, and as we continue to trust Him, as we continue to walk by faith, we will see His plans unfold in our lives in ways we could never have imagined. The breakthrough is coming, and it will be greater than anything we could have hoped for. But first, we must be faithful in the testing, trusting that God is working all things together for our good and His glory. As we continue through the trials, it's essential to remember that testing is not something that lasts forever. Though it may seem like the hardships will never end, they are temporary in the grand scheme of God's eternal plan. These moments of suffering, though difficult and often heartbreaking, serve as stepping stones to the deeper spiritual growth that God desires for us. Every test we face draws us closer to understanding His heart, His nature, and His will for our lives. As we endure the tests, we grow in spiritual maturity, learning to live more fully. In the grace and strength of God, these moments we also begin to understand the importance of persistence. It's easy to feel defeated, to want to give up when things get hard, but God calls us to persevere. Perseverance in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful tools we have as believers. It builds endurance in our faith, and through that endurance we learn to rely less on our own strength and more on the strength that comes from God when we refuse to give up, when we hold fast to our faith. Even when we don't understand what's happening, we position ourselves for the breakthrough God has in store for us. Moreover, these tests reveal to us the areas of our lives where we still need to grow. They show us our weaknesses, but also give us the opportunity to surrender those weaknesses to God. Perhaps it's our patience, our ability to forgive, or our tendency to control situations. As we face challenges, God provides us with the chance to confront these areas and surrender them to Him, asking Him to help us grow in those areas and become more like Christ. It's also during these difficult times that our relationships with others are tested. We may find ourselves needing to forgive, to love unconditionally, or to show grace. When it's difficult, relationships are an integral part of our journey, and God uses them to refine us, just as much as He uses our personal struggles, our interactions with others, especially when we don't agree or when we're hurt, shape who we are becoming. These tests in relationships teach us humility, patience, and kindness. They reveal the true nature of our hearts and invite us to grow in Christ-like love toward others. In the midst of these trials, it's important to stay rooted in God's Word. The Scriptures provide comfort, wisdom, and encouragement. When we're feeling down or uncertain, they remind us of God's promises, of His faithfulness, and of His love for us. When we feel like we're being tested beyond our limits, it is the Word of God that helps us find our strength, our hope, and our direction. The more we immerse ourselves in His truth, the more we are able to withstand the trials and grow from them. As we face the trials and tests that come our way, it's crucial to remember that they are not signs of abandonment or failure, but opportunities for growth and transformation. God uses these times to refine us, to build our character, and to prepare us for the breakthroughs that lie ahead. Each test serves a purpose, whether it is to strengthen our faith, shape our hearts, or teach us to depend on Him more fully. Though the journey may be difficult, we can trust that God is always with us, guiding us through the storm and leading us towards something greater. If we remain faithful, patient, and persistent, the breakthrough will come, and we will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared to fulfill the purpose God has for our lives. So let us press on with unwavering trust, knowing that God's plans for us are good and His faithfulness will car us through every test.